Hey guys, it has been a few years, but I came across a video that I posted initially on YouTube and then onto my Facebook, and I hadn't realized how popular that video was because that message was so important. And so here I am 3 years later, had not prepared for this video, had not gotten myself up and ready for the day, but I felt like that message was so important. I went and listened to it, and so I had to come on here and speak a little bit more about it. In that video, I was, I don't know, at the end of a pregnancy, 8 months pregnant or something like that. But I was talking about looking yourself in the mirror and being comfortable with yourself, loving yourself, telling yourself the things that you need to hear, as opposed to waiting for or depending on somebody else to say those things to you, for you to believe it, for you to know it, acknowledge it, and understand it. Don't wait for somebody to tell you you're beautiful, to know that you're beautiful. Don't wait for somebody to tell you that you're going the right way, for you to keep going. You know, tell yourself those things. Look in the mirror and look at yourself and tell yourself you're beautiful. You're doing the right thing. You're going the right way. You're successful. Whatever you need to hear, don't wait to hear from somebody else. And so I'll just link that video if you haven't seen it, but I wanted to add a little bit more to that, because this is something that I've been saying obviously for years, you know, and I speak as these messages just kind of come to me. I just kind of speak it out, but something that I talk about all the time, and I didn't gather my thoughts for this video, so we're just gonna go with it. But people have a problem with you being selfish. When people say, when people think that you are just too big-headed, what do they say? You're full of yourself. Like it's a bad thing. They say you're full of yourself in a negative, with a negative tone, you know, kind of like an insult. And then they say you're selfish when you say no, when you say, I don't want to do this. This isn't what I want to do for me. Then you're selfish. And they say that in a bad way. But then they say, oh, she's so selfless. He's so selfless. He helps everybody. He's an amazing person. He'll help you, you know, whatever. Selfless is a good thing. Selfish and full of self is a bad thing. Keep those in there. You know, I don't understand that logic. If you refuse to give me what I want from you, you're selfish, and it's a bad thing. If you speak highly of yourself, you're full of self. You're full of yourself. Like it's a bad thing. So, what narrative does that create for somebody in your mind? For you to tell somebody you're selfish. I will be that. I will be selfish, and I will be full of self. Because if you are not full of self, then you are full of everybody else. You're full of what everybody else wants to give you. You're full of what everybody else says to you. And that's what you feed your mind with. If your mind isn't full of self, if your mind isn't full of that self-awareness, that self-love, that self-esteem, that self-caring, and you know, that strength and courage, that self-courage, if you're not full of that, then your mind is full of whatever they give you. Like, you're selfish. You're full of self. You're full of yourself. You are whatever they want, whether it's positive things that they give you or negative. But you open that door and you leave that open space for other people to fill that cup of yours, to fill your mind with whatever they want to give you, because you are selfless. You have no self within yourself. You have your cup is empty. Okay, be selfish. Don't be selfless. It's okay to be caring and loving and giving to people. It's totally fine. I love being a giving person. I have such a giving heart. But I will never give 100% of myself to anybody, not even my children. And I love them more than the world, you know. But I have to love me more because I have to have a surplus to give my children. So I don't even love them more than I love me. And people might think that's a little weird, but if I love them more than I love me, then I'm depending on them to fill me up, because I gave them more than I gave myself, and now I'm gonna have to pull some of that back, because how else am I gonna take care of myself? Love yourself more than you love anybody else, and let that trickle down, but never give 100% of yourself to anybody. Don't give 100% of yourself to everybody, to anybody. Keep something of yourself to yourself. Be full of self. Be so full of self. Be overflowing of self. I'm not full of self. I'm overflowing of self, because now I have an abundance to give you. But the abundance that I have to give is what I gave myself. The positivity and what I allowed other people to give me, because now you can't tell me that I am anything negative. You can say it, and I'm going to rinse that out of my cup, because I'm continuously flowing into myself. I'm continuously pouring into myself. So I'm rinsing. I'm pure. I'm a purification system for myself. So you may want to pour that negativity into my life, but I'm constantly purifying in my mind. I'm full of self, and I love it. I love every bit of me. So love every ounce of yourself. Love yourself whole. Love yourself whole, and the abundance is what you give to everybody else, your children, your significant other, your business, your job, the world, whoever you choose to give yourself to. And don't feel like you have to give yourself to everybody, because you are not for everybody, and everybody is not for you. That's my message.